Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee with Inside the Firm. Each week, our hosts will be interviewing local, regional, and national business leaders to give you an inside peek into how they lead their business to success in the ever-competitive business climate.
Welcome to Monday Morning Coffee with Inside the Firm. Today I have a very special guest. Stephen Falk is the CEO and founder of Switchback Systems, a global safety leadership consulting firm with over 22 years of experience in marriage and family therapy. Stephen uses his expertise to help organizations enhance leadership, communication, and team dynamics in high-pressure environments. He is the author of The Switched On CEO and the creator of Switchback Foundation Training, a program that equips leaders with practical tools for growth. As a sought-after speaker, Stephen's work has made a lasting impact on organizations aiming to improve resilience and safety. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, I had you on because the thing that stuck out to me was marriage, family therapy, and because it always plays into professionals. Before we get into that, tell us how you got here. Are you from a family of entrepreneurs? Where does that spirit come from?
Yeah, sure. I think I'm just a fourth born kid, and so they have to, and with lots of older cousins, so you have to be pretty scrappy to get any sort of airtime at a meal, or to be able to increase your savings drawer, the treasure drawer, because your older brother's models are always better than yours. So I think it's that whole negotiating skill and being somewhat hyper aware. And then the gift that I got was I struggled to read and write in elementary school. So as a result, I had this pretty active mind that wasn't, and I thought it would be very easy to sort of blow into, the academic side of world, but it was actually a huge struggle for me. So then I think I had to sort of take the charm survival skill and make it more into sort of hyper vigilant observational skills. And that has just paid off like crazy for me.
Oh, I've always considered myself exactly that type of person, which you just said there at the end. Hyper vigilant observational person.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like it can be a double-edged sword for folks like us. And maybe we're both hypomanics. I'm reading that book right now and I just can't stop talking about that word. What are some things you've struggled with in being hyper vigilant?
At this stage of my life, there is almost no struggle with it. I come off like meeting with a client somewhere, and they go, "Wow, Steve, I just love your energy." Like at this stage, it's there. In the day, I probably lacked some of those discipline, stick to it skills that it's more of a plotter. Like I think some people are like a diesel Jetta, right? That's just like, wow. You never even have to change the oil on those, and they just go forever. My brain's a bit more like an F1. If you don't have an entire team working on it, you're not making the next corner. And so there's a higher maintenance brain for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I'm with you. I struggled with it too earlier on, so appreciate that perspective. Let's talk about toxic workplace environments. Everybody's experienced one. I've gotten rid of folks before, especially on the construction side, who because we have a couple different companies that just ended up kind of poisoning the well. That's probably the best way to put it. How do you deal with people like that and or just toxic? Is there a way out of it to where you don't have to get rid of them? Is what I'm really getting at. Is like, what kind of strategies can you put in place? Because I believe everybody can improve.
Yeah. So we have a how do I say our client base is very interesting because it's like logging companies that are mostly unionized, and then when we swing in the United States, it's like the U.S. Forest Service, the Bureau of Land Management, national parks, state like DNRs, and so those are all highly unionized, very hard to do even performance management, let alone progressive discipline. And so our tactic is you're going to be better off probably to try to bring that person into team rather than chase them out of team. And so our methodology, I mean, you can see it on the wall there. Our methodology basically is that these people that are difficult, that you would describe as toxic, it first starts with a mindset that says, is this their personality? Is this their core? Or is this a survival skill? Similar to me being a very annoying class clown in elementary school. Like, why was I an annoying class clown? Well, because it was overcompensating to hide something that I couldn't spell with a hoot. And so if the teachers would have been nuanced, they would have said, okay, I got to get this kid onto my team, but he's clearly not like in that red circle you see behind me, the team success. He's definitely not in what I would call my team and success for building the momentum of the classroom. So where isn't he? Why is he there? So I was one of these kids that was pinging around between that hypervigilance and making funny jokes and being annoying and falling out of my chair. And they go, okay, so that's what I'm seeing, but what's behind it? So just about every employee, if you've got the ability, or let's say your foreman have the skill set or the interest, they would say, why is this drywall company so bad? And then they start being almost like what we're called actually, but in private business in the United States, they call us the business whisperers.
Mm-hmm.
And so, your foreman would say, or your project manager say, okay, the drywall crew as a whole, they're toxic. Now let's figure out why. And then they start listening to what we call tickets. Why are they so like we have this sort of like where we don't have this policy to say we don't swear on the workplace, but holy mo, these people cannot put a sentence together without 17 cuss words in front of the customer.
Yeah.
And they can't read their audience. I mean, the customer obviously has a little foo-foo dog. She doesn't want that kind of language on the web. And this is her house. You know what I mean? Like you're like, how is it possible they lack that kind of people skills? All that awareness, let's say, of your foreman or your project manager, when they start becoming fascinated by the behavior rather than frustrated or embarrassed, boom, now they've keyed into that innovative part of their brain, and without being a therapist or without psychoanalyzing, they can start going, what is making this person tick? Why are they using this kind of deflection to achieve what they're achieving? Once you get to it, you find the root, and then you just simply invite them into that red circle team. And the majority of people will come because they want to.
Yeah, I think they do, right? People want to do a good job. They want to be valued. I'm always wondering too about that. I always wonder, like, this behavior is because of a why. Like, why is this behavior happening? Are they overcompensating? Are they coping? I'm really glad you use yourself as an example for that. I do have a sort of a piggyback question on that, though. There's a lot of times I swim between white collar and blue collar a lot as a GC and then an architect. And I find that the white collar folks that I work with are much better at answering questions directly. They'll give me a binary yes or no, and then they'll give the explanation. Where the blue collars seem to do a very long answer, and then I have to just keep digging and digging and digging until I get an S or a yes or a no. And I actually like directly asked one of my electricians this the other day. I'd go like, why can't you give me just a yes and then follow the?
Mm-hmm.
And he still didn't have a good answer. He was, for me anyway. So do you ever deal with it specifically that? I've just been fascinated by this problem.
Yeah, I've never divided it between white collar, blue collar sort of trades versus the C-suite. Let's think about that.
Yeah, it's bonkers to me. And we can go back to it too if you yeah.
No, let's play with it for a little bit. I think probably what I would say is I spent some time volunteering in Africa when I was in college. They had this program, so that why wouldn't I travel for free? Because I came from sort of rural Canada, and that opportunity wasn't presented to me. What I found was like in like northern Ghana, the currency was humor. Like couldn't get anything done without making people laugh first, even getting through a road check with police with machine guns. You just got to make them laugh, and then it goes through. What I find is that the white collar people don't require that grease for business.
Smart.
But the blue collar do. And so they when you approach and say, you know what, I'm busy. Just a second, take that call. And then you get off the call and you go, so have the timelines changed? What you've done is in our world is you've T-boned your electrical contractor. That guy wants to start with, hey, did you go fishing? I saw that picture of the trout on the website. Oh, by the way, I'm thinking of buying, I don't know whether it's Grady White I want to go for, a Thunderjet, but man, those Thunderjets, they're expensive, but they're a little bit better for bringing the family along with it. Oh, by the way, yeah, I think we're on schedule. We're good. Maybe we need to blow up 2 more days. And they go, now, how did I get that answer? Because you were like, again, a business whisperer. You came in soft. You built relationship first, and then you came to your question. See, the C-suite, they're used to just pounding each other
Yep.
with transactional, but you know what? They can't keep marriages alive, and their kids hate them because they're too transactional. It's too much like we're going, don't pow, pow, pow. And the family's like, oh, hold on. That's not how the world works. Sometimes we tell the same story twice, so we don't even care. Like that's how we roll. So I think that in some ways your blue collar folks are just more in tune with how organic the system is. You know, like you've mentioned in other podcasts that being an architect is half art and half business.
Yeah.
I think the leadership model with the C-suite is they think it's just business, but they're dead wrong. It is half art. And I think your electrical contractor, they're still like 80%, hey, this is human. And then 20% is sure I can get you a timeline. That's a long answer, but how do you like it?
But a beautiful answer, because I think you're right. And the way what I think what I would add to that is that the blue collar is they're directly, everything is much more tangible to them, right? I think I used to listen to Adam Carolla a lot, and he does the same thing. He swims between white collar and blue collar. He actually, that's where he started, was carpentry. That's why he resonated with me so much, because that's where I actually started too in my career. And he said the folks who are blue collar just have a direct relationship with danger. Therefore, they're usually can take on higher risks, and a lot of that stuff came out in COVID with all the masking and everything like that. And we don't have to go there, but that's sort of where it's at. I think it's a tangibility thing. Whereas like architects and C-suites, it's a lot of paper and not tangible, right? Yeah, I thought that was brilliant. I'm continually
Well, just
looking.
let's loop back for just a second. So try as an experiment, Lance, with that specifically with that electrical contractor. Be a bit more sing-songy and start with the snowball easy ones. Hey, how's your weekend? Blah, 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 and then give them a ticket. Say, you know that fishing channel I got? Anyways, I did this and this and
Yeah.
this, and then just pause and don't say anything, and then see if they join you at that level. Once you think you've got the good connection, almost like a date, then ask your transactional question.
Then you
How's
ask
your
for the
deadline?
you got to ask
How's
for the
the
yeah, you got to butter them up and ask for the kiss
yeah,
later
yeah,
on.
you can't just go straight pow into the system. What they end up being is they judge you as white collar. Go, oh, here's Lance. He's just transactional guy. He doesn't actually care about us. He thinks about us as robots. Like they have this, even though that's maybe not you, they have this unconscious bias that you become the suits
Yep. Yep.
in
I'm
the
with you.
equation. Yeah, and you can wear work boots, but like, oh, he's just posing. He used to do construction, but he really doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah. And you got to be authentic in that world, because it is purely authentic, right? I mean, again, they're sort of totally tangible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the C suit they hide behind their suits, and
Hmm.
then they get away with being transactional without being fully what I would call three-dimensionally human.
Yeah. I'm going to make my business partner listen to this episode, and actually the other project architects at our firm, and maybe interiors too, so they understand. I like the way you put it. It's like you got to grease the wheel. Like it requires just a lot more grease to get there. You can still get there. It's just a different equation.
One
Yeah.
company they had that difficult guy, but he was the founder. Just recently had he was the founder, and he was the expert in that field, and they wanted me to help, like because he was. I mean, it was of millions of dollars of consequence. And so the answer was, well, I'm just going to hang out with him for 3 days. Where does he live? Southern States. Okay. So fly me down there. So I literally flew down. I spent 3 days with him. And I didn't know how I was going to go. But, we talked about a lot of things that weren't connected to business. But when it was time to ask for the sale, which is, can you come back into team? Can you make your next 5 years really meaningful? Can you get into being more legacy building rather than fighting the current leadership? And he was able to say yes. He said yes because I saw his gun collection. I went to dinner with him. I almost flew in his plane. Like I did all these things that had nothing to do with the business. So when it was time for me to say, hey, I think you should get in that red circle. You're not in it right now. And your life would be better and your legacy would be less tarnished. Then when he says yes, boom.
I'm almost coping in my own head here and going, well, why do I have such loyal subs? for the past 8 years, even though I'm been maybe overly transactional. And I think the only thing I can come up with so far, I mean, I do the greasing. I need to do it more, but it's like, oh, maybe she's gonna pay faster than everybody else. So that's like me. That's a positive of the transactional
Yeah.
stuff, Yeah. Very interesting, huh?
But we in business we teach like people like yourself say you don't have to burn up 35 minutes. It's like a 15-second. It's literally a handshake. It's putting your phone in your pocket and asking yourself, do I know the color of the eyes of everyone that's standing in this circle? And you literally look at their eyes. That alone. It's the attaboys. And it doesn't even involve donuts. Like donuts are sort of
Yeah.
yesterday's bribery. It's literally just being human with them. And you'll go, see you later, pow. And you're just right here when you're leaving. That'll last for 3 weeks. That 54-year-old go back to his wife and say, I've never been affirmed like that in my career ever.
Yeah.
Well, what happened? I don't know. Lance, he just tapped me in the shoulder and something. It's pixie dust, man. I know it sounds stupid, but it's like pixie dust. It's like I
But
had a brand new, Grady White in the driveway. It's like crazy.
yeah, it's totally true. It's totally true. I can't help but eventually switch to the Switchback OS there and this diagram you have behind you. I would love for you to just unpack what we're looking at. This episode does go on YouTube, and for our terrestrial listeners, this is a good excuse for you to like head over to YouTube and check it out, as Stephen explains this awesome diagram he has, and kind of I think what it means for teams.
Sure. So my background was I was trained in classic systems theory. So system theory says most of us are trying to find the symptom, and then we oh, what's it? Oh, I'm trying to find a word right now. I can't find it. But anyways, it's in the classic family model, it's like that 14-year-old that's flipping the bird to their parents. They look at that like the parents would say, that's the problem. In my practice, when the good old mom would call me back in the day when I was a family therapist, I'd say, oh yeah, great. So yeah, sounds like you got some legitimate concerns with your 14-year-old. When's a good time for your family to come? And they go, say what? Yeah, no, I'd like your whole family to come. Oh, our son's not a problem, and our twins are fine. So no. Uh, all six of you, please. And they go, oh, we hate you because dad's an alcoholic, mom's doing this, da, 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 and their son who's the star athlete. Of course, he can do no wrong. He has overcompensation so all of a sudden you show up in that kind of dynamic, and that 14-year-old that's apparently the problem, the identified issue, they are actually the one that's most truthful of the whole system. So from a systems point of view, I became less and less a fan of personality modeling.
Mm.
I realized that's really just a place where people hide. So Myers-Briggs, I mean, sure, they've done some good work to help people at a very basic level, sort of, oh, I'm a bit more analytical. But you know what? That can be also a place where you hide. So you have an entire, like in your business, your entire finance department is like, oh, we're analytical. We don't have to crack jokes and be friendly with people. Actually, you do, because that's what it means to be human. And then your outside sales guys, oh, we don't have to hand in our paperwork because we're just goofballs. Actually, you do, because that's what it means to be world class. And so we found that the personality modeling pushed people out of that red circle and gave them some legitimate excuses for it. And our model was more like, what does it mean to be functional and healthy, period? Like when you scrape all that away, and that's where we developed that red circle. So you can see it there. So that bottom line, think of that like a valley. It's a good Colorado model. So there's the valley floor and there's the mountains. So the valley floor is what we call the front brain prefrontal cortex. And there the model is basically, are you being a little bit too passive in this situation? Or are you being a little bit too aggressive? And can you tell the difference when you cross that little line? Because some people are going to be more, like I'm more of an excitable, hot kind of guy, right? I'll interrupt people and those sorts of things. So when my self-awareness is in this situation, where do I need to be? I got a whole stack of grandkids. So with grandkids, as a family whisperer, I need to, especially if they're out of town, they come to visit us, I need to start really right on the edge of passive in my presentation with them. Otherwise, I'm not going to have 18-year-olds climbing on my lap, 18-month-olds climbing on my lap. I'll be too non-approachable.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing in business or in leadership is forget personalities. It's like, do I have the skills to be able to quiet it down? Do I have the skills to light up the room? And do I know when I need to do that? When I need to bring the energy, when I need to cool my jets, and then can I define when I'm in the red circle? That is just absolutely golden. And then we ask the question, why would grown adults that are actually professionals or tradespeople, why do they actually end up not even in the front brain, what we call the back brain, which is the flight, fight, freeze response?
Yeah.
And that's all based on stored memories. So see that X there on
Yep.
the flight side? So the X represents, let's say, for me, grade 7, I didn't hand in a single social studies report on time. I just thought I could probably get away with it. And so I got this massive adrenaline rush from that. And I had this euphoric sense of I'm going to get caught. They can't give me the strap anymore because that's gone. This is amazing. Procrastination just fills my brain full of chemicals. That memory was not stored in my front brain. That memory was stored in my back brain. And so as an adult, my job is to find the foundational source of why I sometimes still am tempted to delay a project in order to get the adrenaline and the chemical bump. So now it's more like why did I pay my insurance at the last second rather than a week ahead of time?
Yeah.
Oh, because it gave me a little shot. Where'd that shot come? Oh, it came. And then I go, okay,
Huh.
so that stimulus is not actually happening. That's not front brain neuroscience. That's back brain activity. So then I go on that mountain and I go splunking and I find that X and I just tell the story like I just did now. Literally in grade 7, social studies, man, is all about ancient cultures and all the rest. I remember like trying to pull stuff out of my butt, like the day of the morning, drawing pyramids and all that kind of stuff. It's like, what was I doing? I was a pretty good artist. I could have I could have done a great presentation. Instead, I handed in garbage, but I got something from it. So I recognize it, I see it, I understand it, I create meaning from it, and I say, and now almost like a Jocko point of view, I pull it down. I
Yeah.
pull that memory into my front brain. I say, you will manage this from now on. You're the manager of this. We're going to heal the past. I'm going to manage the present. And I'm going to have now a new mindset when I have an opportunity to deal with something that I'm tempted to jump to the back of the brain. So in the world of, let's say, safety, like I got famous, and then we started our firm because we were able to reduce the fatality rate in British Columbia in logging, because fatalities happen front or back brain. When do you think? It's back brain activity. So something happens, you're having a fight at home or whatever, so you're not in a good state of mind to start with, and then you make a mistake at work, and then you kick yourself, but right away you blame others, and now you start switching between the flight, fight, and you ramp up that neurological process, and the front brain that says, hold on, slow down, you can sort this thing out. It's like, no, get a bigger hammer. Let's apply some pressure. Oh, we don't have the right tool. That's okay. We can shortcut this thing. And before long, all of a sudden the excavator's tipped over.
Yeah.
They say, what? And your team comes out and they say, what were they thinking? Like, what were they thinking? They're already on a 20% slope and they decide to reach the boom out. Like, what were they thinking? Well, they weren't thinking with their front brain. They were using their back brain to create the theoretical probability of success rather than their front brain. And so when we released this model just step by step over a number of years into West Coast logging on Vancouver Island, literally the safety stats just skyrocketed. They were just fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think it's brilliant. Yeah, it's a lot of self-examination. That's for sure.
It's deeper than most people expect.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. I love the example you gave about procrastinating, and then that's why some people. I think that's probably true for a lot of people. Man, you do get a cortisol shot right away at the end. You're like, it's an adrenaline rush. I should one of my bi- I wonder. I have a longtime colleague, I won't name his name. He's amazing architect, one of the best in the upper Midwest in the United States. Just phenomenal work. He's always been that way. He
Mhm.
will always be that way. And I think it's an adrenaline thing. That's amazing. I wonder, yeah. Um,
So wait, just before we go. So
okay.
we'll always be that way. Listen to that mindset. Isn't that crazy?
Well, I don't
And
want him to be. Like I've
that's right.
tried to, in my own way, I have because I've been like a teammate with him on projects before.
Sure.
And I know that I'm not that way. Alec, my business partner, and I are very
Yeah.
proactive because
Yeah.
I I think we take our dopamine hit right away, maybe or something. I don't know, but I just think it's a better way of living. I'm not sure waiting till the last minute is the best way.
There's fantastic juice in that red circle. That's that steady, consistent, lovable, approachable position that you can train your brain to enjoy. Your friend, that's that brilliant guy. You have to
Hmm.
ask the question, does he want to be actually burning bridges as he does his brilliance? Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not. Now, is he used to it? Yes. So we have these two pillars in our business in Switchback. We say people can change. If you
Hmm.
don't have that as your mindset, don't get involved. And then the other one is the power of success is in team. So he's not going to be able to change on his own, but he could change with you. You and him could say, "Hey, just for fun, I've got something I'd like to help you with. I'd like you to become addicted to something new. What's that? Living inside a red circle. What are you talking about, man?" And then now we have this brand new topic of conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Stephen, I wish I could grease the wheel with you a little bit more, but we're running up on the half hour, so I gotta rattle off my last two questions for you. And but one of them is please give a plug to everything you're doing. I think it's phenomenal. I think you are clearly changing the world through empirical data. It's like undeniable at this point. Um, First one is though, knowing what you know now, and if you go back in time when you first started your business, what is one piece of advice you give your former self?
Uh, I think the power of success is in team. So I would have taken, like, a couple of logging guys said, "Steve, I got $4 million. Build your business. What do you need?" I should have taken them up on it. I probably should have scaled to a leadership team sooner,
Hmm.
and then my quirkiness wouldn't have been the log jam.
Yeah. So pun intended. Pun intended. It was beautiful. Well, Stephen, where can people follow you, want to get in touch with your services, your company, the book, all that?
Okay, so this is on Amazon, The Switched On CEO, How to Think Like a World-Class Leader. They can go to our website, which is switchbackos.com. We just launched a 12-week mentorship program, which is a a model where a lot of people have gone into groups, and we totally believe that again. So people can sign up to that and be part of our mentorship program. And also we do in-person training. So we fly anywhere and everywhere, including Mongolia, Australia, and so wherever the need is, we send out teams, and then like we said, we don't just do a keynote speaking. We stay with the group for 3 days, and by the end, surprise, surprise, we've gone from being a transactional opportunity to being three-dimensional, which is where change happens.
I just tried to look up the book on Audible. It wasn't there. That's okay. I think I'm gonna pick this up as paperback. Is there an Audible coming anytime soon?
Wait, you can if it's super easy, you just buy the digital version,
Uh-huh.
and then you tell it to read to you.
Okay. There you go. All right. Sounds good. Stephen, thanks so much for being on the show today. I hope people will look into everything you're doing. There's a lot of CEOs that listen to this episode and this podcast, and you're just doing great. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Lance. Okay, happy fishing.
Thank you.